Hello, everyone. You know what time it is. It is Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So you know what that means. The DC cybersecurity professionals are going to get together. We're going to learn some things. We're going to have a great speaker, and we're going to have some fun and do some networking. I am Tyron Wilson, the founder and CEO of Aurasec Solutions, and we also organize the DC cybersecurity professionals meetup group. We meet every Thursday for fun, for networking, to help people learn new tactics and techniques from pen testing, digital forensics, SOC analysts, and it's always a great time. Be sure to join us next week for our topic. It's going to be Let's Talk Pen Testing. So myself, along with some people in the industry that have some pen testing experience, will be here to talk about it and answer any questions that you may have. So if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And let's go. Today we have Filipi Pires here to bring you on, to have a really great conversation. Filipi, this is what, the third time, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Your content is always great. Everyone always enjoys your talks. And, we're always happy to have you. So,
yes,
with that being said, I am going to sign off for now. And Filipi, take it over.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again. Thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here. And today we're going to talk about the secure development, actually. And but first of all, I'd like to, present me. This is my, I'm trying this presentation to be maybe it's different because I will done presenting PowerPoint for the audience. I would like to show just my virtual machine here, and I will try to do something different now. So who am I? My name is Filipi Pires. This is my picture. This is who am I, and I am a principal security engineer in security research at Supnovation, and I'm security research and structure and Hackersec, right, or hacker security. And I'm an advocate of the Hack is Not a Crime project. It's awesome project. I don't know if you know this project. It's very interesting. The idea of this project is to talk about some concepts or some culture. It's the simple explanation here. It's about this kind of concept about the hackers explanation, because usually it's described it's a bad guy, but it's not a bad guy. It's a mindset. It's a culture. It's it's more think it's about the learning and acknowledgement and something like that, right? So I am an advocate of this project, and I've been talking actually in some security events in US and Germany, on other countries, and I've been serving as a university professor in some courses of graduation and MBA courses. And yes, I'm a part of the DEFCON group São Paulo, the staff team, and we are responsible to provide this kind of acknowledgement to the community. This is our idea, right? So here my contacts in Twitter and Telegram. I have, would you like to talk with me, talk a little bit with me? We have this kind of my contacts. This is my webpage that I created, I think a few days ago. And here we can find, for example, our open source project that you can see. I will explain more about the Aurasec. It's an open source project, very interesting. And here my presentations link that you can find. By the way, we have here another presentations that I did. Here, take a look here in DCC Cybersecurity Professionals, another presentation that I did. If you would like to see, just click in here and see in the YouTube, and some articles that I published in some magazines, right? So today we're gonna talk specific about the secure development. I think this is the very important thing here. And first of all, you need to understand about this kind of topic, because when you build or you produce some software, because when you talk about the security, you need to protect something. if you remember some presentation that I did in the past, first of all, I always talk about the thread, right? So thread it's related to some software, or maybe a company, maybe it's receiving a software attack, but usually it's related as some attack related to a software, right? And when some companies need to create this kind of programming or project or software, usually they need to have sometimes to deliver the software, right? You have, for example, a developer team, you have a design team, maybe you have a quality assurance team, and you have a test team, and you have different teams inside the company. And sometimes we need to, accelerate this kind of delivery project, because the technology is, growing too fast, and you need to deliver this kind of project very, very fast. And sometimes when you are developing this kind of projects, sometimes developer don't see the vulnerabilities codes, or because sometimes the people would like to put this kind of software in the hands of the security guy. But the idea today is to give this kind of not function, but this idea is to give this empowering to developer guy, right? So the idea is understand about this topic about the vulnerability, because sometimes we need to understand about it, right? So in this session, for example, in this documentation of the Aurasec, we can find, for example, this 5 types of the security breaches, right? It's high, medium, low, and audit and info. By the way, this is again, it's an open source project, right? So it's open to the community. If you see here, let me open another browser here. If you put, for example, Aurasec in GitHub, you'll find here all information that you can find in the community, right? You can put in open the issues and pull requests, and you can improve this kind of tools, right? So this is a very interesting project that I will explain to you, because this is perform the static code analysis to identify security flows. That's our idea during this conversation, actually. But before to start this analysis, you need to understand about these topics that I mentioned before, is vulnerability. Because where is this? Let me check it here. No, it's here. No, not here. I will show you the quick overview. Sorry, let me check it here. This concept that I was explaining about the vulnerabilities tutorial, it's here. Let me check. Sorry, guys, it's a glossary. Sorry again. Okay, it's vulnerability. I was explaining about it, because we have different security breaches, types of the security to identify. If it's high, it's defined of how possible to explore by the attacker, right, or the threat actor. And another point is sometimes when you execute something, you can find, for example, a false positive. It's happened when you declare some security breach. It's found in safe code, but don't represent any risk to your application. It's another point. In this case, this vulnerability is false positive. Of course, we have another different with false negative. You need to have more, concern about it, because it's more dangerous, right? And another point is when you can accept the risk, right? Because it's, for example, you need to put this kind of information inside your code, inside your project, right? Okay, I will explain more about it, but this is the only important thing to understand the difference between SAST and DAST and YAST difference, right? So first of all, about the SAST explanation, it means SAST is a statistical application security tools that you can use to test your application. Aurasec is currently labeled as a SAST project, right? Because you can execute manually in your code, right? And another is DAST, Dynamic Application Security Test, that you can use. Usually is more executed by externally, as it is explained there, or in this case here in the documentations, right? And you have the YAST, Interactive Application Security Test. It's a mix of both of them, right? So this is a simple concept that you need to understand when you will apply, when you can apply this in your project, right? So, okay. So first of all, I will explain more about the Aurasec. What is Aurasec exactly, Filipe? So Aurasec is, we have, actually when we developed this, we developed this kind of project, it's developed by Zoop Innovations, my company, but this project was open to the community, right? So open to the community to collaborate, to improve more this product. So first of all, when we created this project, we create with the idea using just a CLI, right? Because, for example, let's suppose if you are a developer, you are creating your own code, your own project, and you have your for example, your directory or your repository in a GitHub, but you don't know if his code is safe or not, because probably if you are a developer, maybe you don't have all those security skills or all those knowledge about security to see if your code is vulnerable or not. So that's the first idea when we created the Aurasec. The idea is to give this empowering to developer, right? So the developer could realize the analysis on your own code, right? This is the first idea. The second idea is to, after some improvements, the idea is you can execute or perform this project in a CI/CD pipeline, right? Because we can integrate of this, because when you have the cycle of the security development, you have, of course, in the beginning of this kind of cycle, and in the end of the cycle, you need to deliver this project into the company, right? You can put this project in production, right? In this point here, it's important because you can install this project or this these tools actually in the pipeline to see if this code is vulnerable or not. If is vulnerable, you can break this in the CI/CD. You can break because you need to make the improvements in this code. And another improvement is possible to add to put is like a IDE, right? Extension in VS Code. It's very interesting, and you can improve this. And you can execute, you can realize this performance, and I will explain more details about this platform now, right? So here I have my code, right? So I have some codes in Golang, I have in JavaScript, and I have in Kotlin, Node.js, and PHP. We have a different language and tools that I can use. Another important thing here is about what kind of programming language or tools it's available to use in Aurasec. It's very interesting because if you have a project in Python, you can use. If you have a project in Ruby, you can use in JavaScript or TypeScript in Golang and C#, and you have a Java and Kotlin. If you use a Kubernetes, I think many people use a Kubernetes, you can execute in Terraform. And another point interesting, it's about the leaks, right? I need to explain more details about the leaks, because when we execute the Aurasec here, you can find, for example, leaks. This kind of function checks if the search code for a possible leaks of credentials, like a private keys and a hard-coded passwords. So you will execute this project in your code to try and find some vulnerabilities. And another type, the security flows, is about the leaks. And another is about the dependency audits. So that you can analyze the project in terms of the dependency check, to check the vulnerabilities in the third-party libraries. It's very interesting. And of course, we have some roadmaps to improve this project, and it's totally open source, and the community can improve with us, right? So let's return here. So Filipe, how can I use this Aurasec? So let's, first of all, need to be the installation of you have 4 ways to install the Aurasec CLI, right? Or local installations, manual installations via an image and Docker, or installation via pipeline. So of course, here maybe we don't have a time to explain all those steps, but I will use just only one here. I will copy here. I will copy this code and then I will install my, I don't know if you can see here. I think it's I don't know if it's okay. I will put here. So I just install here. So I'm fail here because I have the, when I execute this, the Aurasec is creating a directory here, but I already have this directory here. I need to delete. Let me delete it here. It's here, the problem. Let me delete here. Yes, okay. So now I will execute again the installation. It's very simple, and now it's installed, right? It's very, very simple in a CLI. So now I have Aurasec here, and I don't know what kind of command I can use. I just using a help to try and understand. So here's, we have some examples, right? So Aurasec start, the first command, and you can set this kind of -p, because it's basically it's a path, right? It's a path of what the directory you would like to execute this scan, right? So this is a simple example here. So let's execute the start command. So Aurasec, one more time, start. But Filipe, I still don't, I don't know yet what kind of command I can use with help. So one more time I use help. And here we have another explanation that I can use, right? So with, for example, -a, we can use an authorization token for Aurasec API. If you have, for example, the web Aurasec manager, right? You can set this kind of vulnerabilities to a manager, to deliver this information to your coordinator or your, tech lead or your manager, whatever. And here we have another different comments that you can use, right? So let's return here. Okay, so first of all, here I have some directories, right? So I have a Golang and Aurasec that I install now, the Java. So my idea, first of all, is to execute this in that Java, in my Java project. So here I have some examples, right, about the codes. So first of all, I will execute this project, these tools in my code. So I will set start. If I don't put any parameters here, they will execute in this parameter here. As you can see, I don't set -p because I don't need it. I just execute in the exactly directory I have, not that I am in this case. So this I put yes, and I will start the scan in my directory, in my project Java, right? So I just execute and they will execute. If you see here, please don't remove doc Aurasec because the Aurasec create like a not exactly backup, but it's a point of the execution of this program. So let's see the results here. So I executed. So Aurasec ended the analysis with status of success, right? So if you see here, the time there where Aurasec started the scanning, and here the time that I finished the scanning, right? So let's see about the results and the explanation. Here, the language that we execute our code, the severity of the vulnerability is high in this case, right? So the line of this codes where we can find the vulnerability, the column of your project, right? And what security tools use it to identify this vulnerability. This is a good point here because they use Aurasec, in this case, the Aurasec Java engine. So here we can understand more about this topic here. Let me explain about this topic here, for example. Currently, Aurasec can select languages here and tools to use in project. So if you see here, with the Aurasec, the results of the scanning identified by security tools by Aurasec Java, right? So Aurasec, you can use it with another different you can, it's a similar framework. You can use different engines, like you can see here. So you can use npm audits, yarn audits, SameGraph, and this is our engine, Aurasec Node.js. Like here, Aurasec Javas and SameGraph engines. So you can use more than one engines inside the product. Let's see. It's very, 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 very interesting, because you can, find many different tools inside the same, or the only one SAST tools, right? So here the confidence is low, right? And here you can find the file, exactly what file is the code vulnerable, right? So you can, if you see here, this is the main directory, right? So Aurasec/demo or -demo Java, and here you can find all those file, the exactly file. All those information are inside of this directory. So when you execute this scan, all those files and directories inside the main directory, Aurasec will execute this kind of scanning, right? So here the code vulnerable, right? So here the details, the explanation of the details, right? So if you see here, the apps use the insecure random number generator. For more information, check out the CWE 330. This is referencing a MITRE, right? So all those vulnerabilities based on MITRE. This is very interesting. And here we have the reference hash related to this vulnerability, right? So here's one of this example that you can find here when you execute in your code, using what? Using a CLI. Let me run another example here. And let's check the Golang here. We have another project in Golang, right? So I will set again Aurasec and start, and I will press enter, and one more time, and I will execute in my project in Golang to identify, to understand more about these results, right? So that's a good point, because you can use this program open source projects in whatever language you can use. So again, one more time, just a simple explanation. I'm executing this in my virtual machine, okay? Then I am streaming the presentation. I'm using the virtual machine and executing the Aurasec, right? And it works very well. So Aurasec executing and success results, the starter of the scanning in the finish analysis, right? So here one more time. In this case, it's a medium severity, as you can see, but the security tool is not exactly Aurasec, but it's a GoSec engine. You see, so that's an interesting point again, because sometimes we have many others security tool or statistics tools actually to execute your code. But here you can improve this kind of work in your team, because you can use many others open source tools to execute in one place to execute your scanning to improve your code, right? So here the confidence is high. The file that Aurasec find the vulnerability, the code explanation in this case, because it's talk about the rash here, and use a weak cryptography primitive in this case, in this code, in this function. You see? So let's see another, if I have another different here. Here it's interesting to explain. In this case, take a look. Security tool SameGraph. It's another tool using inside the Aurasec that you can execute. You have the reference here. It means if you see the code, it's almost similar. It's almost the same, because it's the line 23 and the column 7. If you see here another engine, it's line 23 and the column 7. It means it's the same code, but Aurasec using 2 different engines to find the vulnerability. As you can see here, GoSec, it's one of the engine, and here using another, it's a SameGraph, So that's amazing. That's awesome, because you can find, in this moment, you have many information inside of you, inside your product. You can, improve your security program, your code, right? But let's suppose if you have, for example, Filipi, I am a developer and I work with a VS Code, right? So I will open here the project, right? Then let me check here the demo and Aurasec demo. Yeah, I will open the project here. Let me close here. Let me try open again, because it's possible to execute this project, the Aurasec here. Let me choose another project, the Kotlin. Kotlin, it's nice. I will open the Kotlin project here, the source, the main, and test, and something like that. Okay. And if you see here, I can install this plugin in the Aurasec here, right? So I can install the Aurasec in my VS Code, and I just click in Start Analysis. And when you execute this, you open this kind of, not a pop-up, but it's, hold on, Aurasec started to analyze your code. And here, it's very, the small sign here, but it's running in the background, the analysis here. So after that, we can receive the results. Let's see what happened after this execution, this scanning that Aurasec is executing. Let me check here. The code. Let's start again, because I think I have a problem here with my permissions. Let's check. Let's see here. Hold on, Aurasec started to analyze in your code. Let's see if I receive the results or some error. And you can read some properties. Yes, I have a problem with my code. Let me check another different here. Let me open another project here. Probably is okay. It's, in this case, it's Node.js. I will execute the again, because we don't have a time to check this error now here. But I think it's some problem with my code to the demo here. So after the scanning, or maybe it's a permission, because my user here in this virtual machine, I have some problem. So Aurasec analysis finished with success. So here, if you click in code, in this case, what exactly file that the Aurasec find in the vulnerability, they check and they see here the vulnerability. So injection high using a shell interpreter when executing in OS. I'm reading actually this pop-up here, and here the explanation, the same explanation that you can find when you execute here, the explanation here, details. This explanation you can find when you put the mouse inside the vulnerability. In this case, it's high, using shell interpreter, using execution OS commands arbitrary. Here, this explanation of the CVE 78, right, by matrix. So here, exactly line that you can find the vulnerability, right? So I executing via CLI or by CLI, I execute in the VS Code, the Aurasec, right? So another thing interesting in Aurasec that you can, improve is about the web application. It's an overview. What is web application in this case? It's an Aurasec manager, right? So Aurasec web application or Aurasec manager, it's some functionality. There are several functional. It's very complicated words to pronounce for me in this case. Functional. Okay, you see, this application. It's many functions that you have, right? So you can use it in a multi-tenant properly. So you can set. You have the access control and you have the analytical vision, because you have all those informations of how many vulnerabilities you have, the total of the developers, the vulnerabilities per developer that you have, the classification of the vulnerabilities, very interesting that you have, the integrations that you have with LDAP or Kcloak, it's an open source authentication platform. It's very interesting. It's another integration that you can use, right? So how can I install this? Basically, I need to install, this is a prior requirements that you need, right? The Docker Compose, the Docker, and Linux environments. So first of all, let me install here to present you this platform, the manager, and how this works. Let me, first of all, I will clone the repository here for us. So let me put in sudo, because I don't have some permissions. I will cloning this repository, right? So aurasec.git. I will clone this repository. Oops, I cloning the Aurasec here. Okay. I will put in the wrong place here. Okay, let me come back here. It's in live. So now I will clone in the right place here. Okay, again, Aurasec. I will clone this repository. Let's check here. Aurasec. Let's go inside this directory. All those informations are here. Deployments, examples that you can use in Aurasec, analytics, and something like that. Okay, so let's return here the presentations here. The second is go to inside the Aurasec. I am here inside the Aurasec. So now I just execute this make install, right? So make install, and that's it. So now I am install the web environment. Of course, I have the Docker Compose in my environment. I have a Docker and I am in Linux. So I am install the Aurasec manager now. So, okay, I think it's okay. Let me check it here. Okay, I think I need to put in there. Yeah, I'm in Kali Linux, but you know, my users don't have a good privileges here. Let me check it here. Create a manager. Okay. Just looking a second. Now it's okay. So if you see here, the make you run, and here, if you see, install the binary one more time. Okay. So now what can I do here? Access the environment. So I will install in my local host, right? So I click here and I am open the platform here, right? So because it's just only in demo. Let's check here. No, it's not. Let me check what is the documentation that I have. Okay. Okay. I will open another browser here. Okay. And remember this configuration of the session, blah, blah, blah. The email that I will use it's here because it's demo. So I will copy and I will paste here. Okay. The password I will use this for a demo. Okay. Nice, Filipi. Nice. You closed it. One more time. Copy. Again. Let me copy here this password. And I will copy here. It's okay. It's okay. I will singing. In this case, I have here. Let me check here. Okay. I need to go to the workspace in a repository here, and I will delete. Oh, if you see here, take a look. I have some examples here. Let me delete this repository because I was executed before. Vulnerabilities and dashboard, it's totally clean now, right? Okay, let me go to the workspace. In repository, manage workspace. It's small, I think. Let me. Okay, let's go. Check is in the workspace. Let me delete this because this is another presentations, right? Okay, so here I will have the first workspace. I will add the workspace here. I will put Aurasec, the description just Aurasec. I will save. So now I have this workspace. So I can, choose different workspace because I can have the quality security team and the test team, in developer team, in the mobile team, whatever. So after that, I will generate the token, right? Add the token. I will choose Aurasec token, put in this name, save, and here I have the token. Why I need this token, Filipi? Because when I execute, for example, let me go to the example here, and I have another examples. I have in the JavaScript here, JavaScript example. So here I have another codes, right? Is example 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here, for example, I can use in the Aurasec again by CLI start, and I have here setting -a, and I will put this token responsible to call or to send actually all those informations of this project by API to the manager, right? So after that, I will execute. Okay. I need to set here in this case the -p because it's the path. Okay. Let me check what's the problem here. Oh, yeah. In absolute path. Okay. Yeah, always the same problem. The user, it's interesting, Okay, so now it's worked because it's my permission of my user. I like to use this user because you don't need, when you execute, when you give this kind of privilege to the users, you need to remove this kind of privilege to access, right? So here, as you can see, I have 4 different examples. Let me check here. Above it's okay. It's different. I have 4 example here, right? So example 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 projects, right? So I executed the Aurasec again. In the end of this result here, you can see that 35 possible vulnerabilities were found, and we classified them into critical. It's another. We need to, by the way, we will update this information in our documentation, because here in this case we have 3 criticals, 17 high, 6 medium, and 90 low, right? So all those informations, because I use this token, if you see here in the dashboard, if I click here in the dashboard in vulnerabilities, you can find all those informations in the Workspace dashboard. Workspace, I click. If you see here, 1 developer, 1 repository. It's a JavaScript repository, right? So this is the main repository that I executed here. It's a JavaScript. You remember? Home, Tor, and it's my user, Aurasec, example, and JavaScript, because we have example 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So this is the main directory, right? So let's see the answer. So here, all those vulnerabilities that you have here, low, and 6 medium, and 3 criticals, and 17 high, right? So here we can find the vulnerability by developer. Here it's interesting point, because, for example, if you have this kind of tools in your company, for example, and you see here how many vulnerabilities this developer, when this developer created this code, the developer create with this 35 vulnerabilities. So you can pick up this developer, you can, give a training, security trainings with developer, how he can develop better the code, or how this developer, can improve the knowledge with security. And in this case here, you can find the language vulnerabilities. It's a JavaScript 32, but we have here 3 leaks related to the leaks. Do you remember some keys that you sometimes forgot, and this key are inside of the code, or hard or password hard coded, right? So you can use and you can have many details, right? So if you see here, the language is JavaScript, and the version here, all those explanations, the example and the file exactly, the line that you find here, and the code. And if you see here, the leak, take a look here, leak, critical, password find. So password find is hard-coded URL, and a password was found in a hard-coded URL. So basically we have, config.js, and the server is information of the Postgre database that you stay inside of this code, right? So here you can find all those informations in your project. You can set this in this execution in your CLI. You can execute in different ways. So for example, let's check here another, for example, let me copy this code here, this token. Okay. Let me return and see another project here. And okay, let's see the Ruby. It's the same case. So for sudo. Okay, I will execute the same case, the same thing here, because I will analyze now the Ruby code, right? So it's a different language. As we can see, we have in total the 3 files to analyze here, and we found 19 possible vulnerabilities, right? So if you check again the workspace, let's update here. Let's see, the same developer, because it's me, the same developer, right? And because it's my token, perfect. And here is, if you see another different vulnerabilities, here you found the Ruby, right? 19. Just find vulnerabilities in Ruby language. Here in JavaScript the same. So here we have others and different vulnerabilities, right? So I could, explain more things about the Aurasec here in the documentations here, but I think we don't have a time. I need to, maybe Tyrone, or maybe we need to have another, talk about, for example, explain more details about the CI/CD environment. But I can show some information to you interesting. Let me look here about the pipeline. How can improve that here? Okay, the simple installations by pipeline here. You can use, for example, the GitHub Actions, and you can set the security pipeline names using the push. You set the Aurasec security. It's very simple. Basically, you execute here the bash command, right? So the command used to install the binary, and after that, the same case that I executed before, right? So Aurasec start, and setting the p parameter to execute in the root of the directory, and -e to execute this command true, because if they found the vulnerability, they can break the pipeline, right? So we tested in GitHub Actions, AWS Code Build, in Circle CI, Jenks, Azure DevOps Pipeline, GitLab. You have here another example to execute and to try this platform, right? So here I finish my presentation, and I don't know if you have any questions. The people have questions, I'm available. again, thank you for for having us. And I don't know, Taurani, if the people have some questions. Okay, I'm seeing some.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I was muted, but yeah. You know, I don't see any questions. You can put your, you know, we'll definitely put your info in the description, as well as the follow-up emails. If anyone has any questions or comments for Filipi, definitely be sure to you know, reach out to him, ask away. He has a ton of knowledge and always ready to assist.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm seeing the Stephanie Lewis putting the working
Yes.
on DevSecOps. Yes, this is the the security by design. It's very important steps, because if you see